This is a very technical bill, and it needs, in my view, needs a lot more time for discussion. It's something that I raised here in the Dáil last week, that we need more time and not to be rushing through bills in the Dáil, but it looks like that's the way this government works at this present time, is talk little and push through everything and give very little opportunity for people in the opposition to scrutinise these bills in the way they should be. There's a number of issues here. Obviously, quite a lot of deputies have raised issues in relation to planning, and I certainly would have a lot of concerns of planning down in my own constituency, Cork South West, and Deputy Liddon said there that Limerick must grow, and he's well entitled to say that, as he represents Limerick, and I appreciate that and respect that, but I certainly feel that West Cork should grow too, and it has been every plan and every county development plan that's coming before the councillors at this stage has done everything in its power to make sure it doesn't grow. And if it is to grow, it's only to grow in a bigger town. Rural communities and rural areas need to have the life built back into their areas too. And a lot of one-off plannings, which have to be deemed as being extremely safe once they're carried out in a proper fashion, are being discouraged in every way, shape and form. A lot of young people have, had ruined lives basically because they've been forced away from their own bit of land, their own home area, and being rammed into a town and a village that sometimes don't have the resources or the facilities that their own rural community had. In a lot of cases, they may have had a broadband where they lived, and they may not have it where they go. And many more services also, because there's no point in saying that they have better sewage systems, because I know a lot of towns in West Cork that have pouring raw sewage into the tide, including the parish I live in myself, Goleen. And it's a sad situation that we find ourselves, that we have a Green Party in government, and that's the case. No progress whatsoever in that issue in my area, and there's more. I could name them out, and I do want to come in the movement in relation to Castletown's Inn, because we had discussions there last week, because it's hugely important. But then I looked at the county development plan, and quite a lot of areas that were zoned became unzoned for some reason or another. So who came up with this miraculous plan behind the scenes to zone an area maybe 5, maybe 10 years ago, and then to pull the plug, and people, had plans in that area to build their community, and then plans are gone to the wall now. And it's very, very unfair, Minister, and that needs to be explained. And the whole planning process is a hugely difficult process for a young family trying to get off the ground, get up and get going in their life. The first thing they want to do is meet the planner. Now that's not allowed either. Since COVID, they've gone to hide, and it's only online meetings, which is terribly unfair for young people that want to have a face-to-face meeting and try, and okay, maybe not as suitable there, but it might be suitable somewhere else, and get kind of a feeling as to, are they going the right direction, instead of spending a lot of money. And there is a lot of money being spent, because I know of one planning down in my own area, and obviously I can't name the person, but the amount of work to get it across the line was shocking. I know how many thousands it cost them. For the young man trying to get off in life, this report for this and worms and snails and I don't know in the name of God what else reports they had to draw up before he got planning. And halfway through it, the family said to me, to help it, we're packing it up, and I said, no, keep at it, and lucky enough, okay, because I just thought it was a terrible exercise as such, and the same people are very, very careful in relation to their environment and whatever, but look, there's so many rules and regulations that are attached to planning now, it's making it extremely difficult. There's also talks in this bill about the quarries and the changes, and I was talking to Deputy Danny Healy in relation to this yesterday evening, and Deputy Matty McGrath here. We're very worried that these changes, it looks like if there's an infringement, and obviously there has to be rule and regulation in relation to quarries, but if these changes come into effect, the way I see it is that the small quarry owner, if he has a slight infringement, he could be closed down very quickly. So this is going to suit the large quarry owners who have a monopoly in the market already. Now, if you start closing the small quarry operators around Ireland, and rural Ireland in particular, good God almighty, the large quarry operator will absolutely price projects and price deliveries out of all means, so that the local authority, it will break local authority, it will break the ordinary couple on the street in the morning that are on the countryside that are trying to build their house and trying to pay for material. They won't be able to pay for material because the large quarry operator will already have a monopoly in the market. And my worry is that this is a nice way to shut off the small quarry operators who've been great to local people, supplying the goods at a fairly reasonable price and keeping these large operators at tow. And that's, Minister, I would like maybe you would clarify that to us later on, that this is not intended to, that at least if there's regulation out there, and regulation needs to be out there, and if there's an infringement, that at least the person gets a slap in the wrist and put it right. If, okay, after second term they're not willing to do that, well, then move in. But if you're willing to shut them down at the smaller operators who are struggling as it is, as we speak, because of fuel costs and energy costs and everything, you're only really putting them out of business. We talked about, a lot of DDs that spoke here about the Irish water connections, and it's astonishing to hear the prices that some people, again, trying to get going in their life, are being charged to do a basic water connection. Quite a lot of people say to me, sure, I can run the pipe up myself, I can do everything for them, all I need is just them to do the final connection. And that's not allowed, of course, because somebody wants to take a nice tap of money out of it before they finish up. So that's an area that Minister has to be looked into seriously, because people cannot keep being penalised day by day and night by night. And in a recent report, and we have to ask questions with Irish Water and ask questions to the Minister for Environment, why do I read a report that areas like Clonakilty, Skibbereen, Bantry, Durris, Goleen, Crookhaven are running out of water? Clonakilty, imagine running out of water, Clonakilty, and there's no longer development allowed there at this present time. The people of Clonakilty want development in their area because there's opportunities there, as they deserve. But them areas that I mentioned have had no works done to their reservoirs, so that they are in a situation now. It looks like it could be a dry summer, but not ragingly dry. And I know when the minister will probably get up in a minute, or some minister will get up in a minute, it is all to do with environmental. For God's sake, that's going on for the last 40, 50 years. And stop that old nonsense talk. The reality of the day is that if you have a dry summer in some of these areas, there's been no works. The same as I said a while ago, no works in some of the sewage systems out in Goleen and places like that. And there's more than Goleen. But if we run out of water like they did in Copeen in 2 weeks ago, just off of Ballineen, where there were 24 hours without water because there was no water there. What's wrong? Why haven't you invested in some areas in West Cork? Are you keeping all the money for the capital? Is that where the money is going? Will this bill tackle these issues? I'd appreciate, Minister, that needs to be addressed, because these people can't go, and it could be within hours they'll be without water, which will be a scandal as far as I'm concerned. So I'd be very concerned for the people of Clonakilty, Skibbereen, Bantry and Durris and Goleen and Crookhaven if that is to happen for the summer months. So look, I've spoken about in relation to areas like Ballinspittle also. It has an awful lot of issues with sewage. A town that's very close to Cork City that could increase in population would be super boost to that area, Ballindee and Kilbritton and that area. And these areas, this work needs to be carried out, and it seems like a lot of money is spent, but it's not spent in the constituency that I represent. So thank you very much.